All right, so today I'm going to talk about some healthy habits you should think about adding if you really want to be successful on your fitness fat loss journey, which I know you do. So, I do have a previous video where I did talk about, where I did kind of mesh fitness with James Clear's Atomic Habits. I'm going to make sure we link it here. But I thought, you know what? Let me do a video specifically on about 7 habits you can build um, to make sure that you nail it. Some of these habits I use myself, I've taught my clients that I work with. And of course, if you're interested, definitely check out the programs below. And I was like, let me help you because, as I said, I really want to help. And to get the results, you need to make habits. Habits are things you do every day without even thinking about it. Habit number 1, start your day with water. Now, I love coffee. I love caffeine, right? Well, specifically coffee because teas have caffeine and I'm not big on caffeine on tea, but I love coffee. And I used to be one of those persons where it was like, as soon as I got up, I would have caffeine. But I also realized that that is not good for us. Aim to have about half a glass of water before you have any sort of caffeine. Few reasons. One, you probably wake up in the morning, you kind of feel dehydrated when you have your first pee, probably really yellow because, of course, you haven't had any water in at least 6, 8 hours because that's how long you should be sleeping overnight, not 2 hours. And what happens is you're dehydrated. You probably also have kind of like puffy face. So having water that early in the morning or whatever time you get up in the morning definitely helps with that, helps with dehydration. 2, if you're going to have caffeine, you want to make sure that you have water to protect your stomach lining. If you have caffeine without food or water, you may eventually ruin the lining of your stomach, which you do not want to do. Next up, you want to be making sure that you have breakfast. Yes, listen, I'm Jamaican, and growing up in Jamaica, not having breakfast was not a thing. That was like blasphemy. I didn't even know such a thing existed until till I migrated to the US and was going to school. And it was like, wait, y'all don't have breakfast? That's really a thing. And we've all heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Here's why. It's from a hormonal balance thing. So we have cortisol, which is our stress hormone, right? So cortisol is supposed to be higher in the mornings. Having it high isn't a problem. The problem is keeping it high because it's supposed to go up and down throughout the day. I have a whole podcast, I think podcast episode 8, we'll link it below, where I talk about that. But what happens is in the mornings, your cortisol level, if it's balanced, it should be high. You don't want it to stay high. So this is where having breakfast with protein comes in. This is why eggs are such a big thing at breakfast. If you don't have eggs, you can have cottage cheese, you can have yogurt, stuff like that. When you have a high protein breakfast in the morning, even with carbs, healthy carbs like oats, it helps to bring your cortisol level down, right? As I mentioned, you don't want your cortisol level to stay high throughout the day because that's going to be telling your body to store fat, which is not what you want, right? And you're like, okay, Trudie, I'm not hungry in the mornings. So if you're not hungry in the mornings for breakfast, that's probably a sign your cortisol level is high. And if your cortisol level is high and you're trying to get rid of belly fat, you're going to notice it's not happening. So I would suggest probably start having like a little smoothie or even a bite of something in the morning. And I do have a podcast episode that I mentioned that I did talk about cortisol and things that you can do to bring it down, because it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter how much working out you're doing, it doesn't matter how clean you're eating. If your cortisol levels are high, if your cortisol levels are out of balance, you're not going to be losing fat from anywhere. So definitely check that out after this video, of course. Next up, sunlight or light. I said sunlight, but this is being recorded in January 2024. And I'm looking outside in Toronto right now and it's dark. So it depends on where you live. You may not be able to get sunlight all the time, but having light in the mornings, for example, one of the things that I do as soon as I get up, I make my way to the bathroom so I can shower because I'm one of those people I need shower early in the morning to function. And I start my day pretty early. But the bright light, having bright light hit us helps because it triggers the serotonin, which is a feel good, happy hormone. So we'll start feeling good, right? We'll become awake. If you ever, as soon as I'm saying that, I have this picture of, when my nephew was younger, would sleep over and he would come in my room before I awake and turn the light on. It's like, how that blinding light would want to blind you. You're like, I'm not ready to get up. That's why, because the minute we see the bright light, it's going to give us energy. And I know we're dealing with a lot. So having energy to feel good is definitely important. So try to get some sort of light earlier in the day as possible, as soon as you wake up as possible. Because depending on where you live, the sun may not come up until later. And you want to feel good as soon as possible, right? Gratitude. And you're like, girl, this is working out. Where are you going with gratitude and all of those things? Because the bottom line is when you feel good, you're going to take care of yourself. It does not matter what anyone says. When you feel good, you're going to do things that make you feel better. And taking care of yourself is one of those. We all have issues. We all have things going on in our lives, no matter what you see anyone posting on Facebook. But I've also learned that where you are right now, you are living at least one of your answered prayers. I know I'm living about 10 of them right now, right? So you want to give gratitude for where you are right now, for what you have. It doesn't matter if you're not making the amount of money you want to be making yet, you don't have the relationship you want, but focus on what you do have, because when you start focusing on what you have, you start tricking your brain that you're happy and more things start coming to you. And as I mentioned before, you start feeling better. Once you feel better, you're going to take care of yourself. So for myself, some things that I'm grateful for every morning is I'm grateful for another day. I'm grateful for a pain-free body because I've experienced pain before. I'm grateful for clean water. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work from home. I'm grateful to be able to help women. Just like little things you may take for granted, start being grateful for them as much as possible. Even the children that are ticking you off in the morning, still be grateful for them because at some point you ask for them. Have a to-do list. Once again, you're like, girl, what does this have to do with fitness? Because at this stage, the more stressed you are, the more stressed you are at this stage, the harder it is for you to get rid of belly fat. And also you're gonna experience more and more severe perimenopausal symptoms. So I find that having a to-do list for myself, I like preparing my to-do list from the night before. Take like 10 minutes the night before, clean up the office, prepare my to-do list. I don't like mine in the mornings because in the mornings I kind of want to know what I'm doing as soon as I get in. What happens is when we have a to-do list, it kind of gives us more structure and control. And of course, things always pop up, but at least when you have a to-do list, you're not running around like a hamster on a wheel trying to figure out what to do next, because that also keeps you in stress mode, which you don't want. When you have a to-do list, you're a bit more organized. And when you're a bit more organized, everything kind of flows different. It flows better. Once again, it is not always going to go as planned. Nothing ever go as planned. But at least if you have a plan somewhere to start, that can definitely help. Something else that you can do regularly, have fun. I find as adults, we don't have fun. Yes, we have bills. Yes, we have responsibility, but we still gotta have fun. We still have to make time to do the things that we enjoy. Like one of my fun things is reading. I went back to reading a lot because I genuinely loved reading, but I had stopped reading because I was busy with the corporate job, recording for the gram. I was busy doing everything else where I felt a burnout coming, but we usually get burnout when our lives aren't balanced, right? We're putting too much of our energy or energy currency into one thing. So it's important that you make sure that you're having fun. Does not have to be weekly, does not have to be daily. It can be weekly, but make time for fun. And the next thing that you can definitely do is be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself. Um, you gotta be with you. You gotta deal with you. Be nice to yourself. Be kind to your body. Think kind thoughts. Doesn't matter if your body isn't where you want it to be. Be kind. Give yourself grace. You're doing a lot. You've done a lot. A lot of us have been through a lot in our 40 something years, and we are here. Give yourself grace. Be patient. And I talk about that a lot because society teaches us to hustle, 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 hustle. And we subscribe to it. But then we hit a burnout and then we lose our joy and then we don't like anything and no one. And it's not good. So be kind to yourself. On my phone, about once a day, I have an alarm that goes off where it reminds me to be kind to myself, and I'll spend like 5 minutes looking in the mirror. I have a mirror in my office for that reason. Or I'll go in the washroom and I'll look at myself for 5 minutes and I tell myself kind words. I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're adorable. You're cherished. Just stuff like that. And I remember when I started it, it felt so weird until I finally believed it, and I continued and I believe it. So make time to be kind to yourself no matter what is going on. Okay. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and let me know what other content you want here. I'll eventually start posting workouts. Just give me a few weeks. As I said, I want to make sure that I'm giving you the base, the foundation, because if you don't have all those foundations and you start working out and you start eating clean, the minute life happens, you're off and you got to start over. So let me know if you have any questions. I am going to do a Q&A session and I would definitely love to answer your questions. So definitely go ahead and post it underneath. And until next time, bye.